Well, good evening. It's time for our regular Sunday night review. And once again, thank you to everyone for the discussion this week. It really makes things easy. You guys really do a super job of just taking the question and running with it. And I really enjoy just reading along and seeing where people were going and all the different perspectives. And just to go back into the week four material itself, excuse me, the whole idea of stockholder and stakeholder. One thing for sure, in this is the fourth, in counting the on-campus version. This is the fifth time we've run this course, and never ceases to amaze me how this gets people thinking because it's something I think that unless you've been around it for a long time or been exposed to higher levels of leadership in organizations, you never really think about this concept of the stakeholder versus the stockholder. And because so many of us work for-profit organizations where really profitability and creation of shareholder value is the end result we're all aiming for. And then so many of us work in other types of organizations, not for profit, the military, for instance, where it's more the stakeholder approach. Who are we trying to take care of, internally and externally? And it's a concept I think that so many of us don't really look at any great depth consciously. So that when you finally have to sit down and do it, to a lot of people they're saying, wow, never thought of that. And very interesting to read all the different perspectives that people have. The other important thing, of course, that we had last week was the whole idea of the internal versus the external customer. And that really is an extension of the whole stakeholder idea. At least it is in my opinion. That internal customer is the one that makes things happen. Everybody, if you're part of an organization, everybody has internal customers. And we can even look at an entire industry as being a system of internal and external customers, all putting, say, something together from your suppliers, from your even to some degree your competitors, to get that proper end product that the end user, the external customer wants. Yet, so often we have people think only of the external customer when we use that term customer because they're the ones supposedly footing the bill. It's really interesting stuff, but think about it. If you don't take care of your internal customers, who's going to take care of your external customers? And I think Baldrige is very, very specific about that. And when it talks about valuing your employees and that point of the Baldrige principles, that's what the internal customer idea is all about. So stay in tune with that idea because as we go forward over the next second half of the course here, you're going to see that concept just come into play more and more, and it just keeps building on itself. So I think it's very important. Now, week five, we're going to look at something maybe on surface it seems a little bit more dry, a little bit more technical, but I think it's an interesting concept, and that's the whole idea of measurements. Now, at Baldrige, we talk about managing by fact. How do you get facts? Well, you determine them through some kind of analysis. You determine how good things are through some sort of measurement. We've always looked at quality in a traditional sense as measuring durability, measuring how close we are to tolerances, measuring the actual versus the design parameters. Measurements are very important. We measure things all the time. Sometimes we measure more than we need to. Sometimes we don't measure enough. And so what we're asking you to look at this week is look at, in the context again of your own experience, how do you approach measurements? What do you measure? Why do you measure something? How do you measure something? And maybe most importantly, after you measure something, what do you do with that measurement? How does it affect your daily work? How does it affect the quality of the output? You know, one of the questions I do ask in here, do you ever find any measurements in your organization that you consider useless? Did you ever collect data and then wonder what happened to that data? Where does it go? What does anybody do with it? Why do people want me to collect this and measure this? You know, again, on the other hand, keep saying that a lot. You ever think, say, why don't we measure X, Y, Z? That would tell us an awful lot about what we need to do. And it's something we don't measure. So, well, you see the leaping philosopher dog behind me. She measures comfort. She measures how hungry she is. She measures a lot. But getting back to people, yeah, we measure things all the time. Sometimes unnecessarily, sometimes we don't measure enough. It's a real interesting concept and something I think that we really want to keep in mind. A question I really want to answer right now, and I just finally got it posted in the discussion board. I've been so interested in reading everything else and so busy with so many things. I totally neglected to answer a question that was asked in the Ask the Instructor section, where it was asked somewhere in the course material we talk about quizzes and tests, and were you missing anything? And the answer is absolutely not. You're not missing anything. Somewhere along the line over the last few mods, when I originally designed the course, I intended to include a couple of quizzes and tests. And in keeping with my feelings about measurements, and it's appropriate maybe that I'm answering the question now, although I apologize for my lateness. What I'm trying to measure in this course is understanding and critical thinking and forms of expression. Do you do that well through a test? My answer is no. My answer is we do that through the depth of our discussion, through the quality of the critical thinking that we display, through the interchange of ideas between class members, and in the written analyses that I'm asking you to do. Those have taken the place of the originally proposed quizzes and tests. And I think a couple of references in the syllabus and in the course material, the old intent may still be there. That's a quality problem for me that I have to fix. Okay? But there's a good example of measurement. How do you measure critical thinking success? How do you measure what people know? How do you measure understanding? There's quite a difference between reciting a fact and understanding a fact. I'd rather have us come out of here with understanding, not just memorization. So there's right there an application of the concepts of measurement and assessment. How do we do that? And that's what we're asking ourselves to concentrate on this week. So once again, great job to everyone. Thanks for your participation. Thanks for the quality of your discussion. Thanks for the real, true, respectful interchange that's going on. It's spirited and it's lively, and it shows understanding. And believe me, that's a measurement. Okay? So that's where we are this week. Please ask any questions. I'll try to make sure I answer them in a more timely fashion. And I'm enjoying this course, and I hope you're getting out of it what we want. And remember, as I said last week, I really hope we come out of every unit with everybody sitting back and being able to say honestly, gee, I never thought of it that way before. Okay, thanks for your attention. Have a good evening.